It is 6:30 on May 11, 2026. We'll go ahead and call the regular meeting of the McGregor City Council to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please be seated for the public comments. Do we have anybody signed up for public comments? All right, Mr. Brent McCain, would you please come up to the microphone, give us your name and your address, and let us know what you're here about.
All right. Brent McCain, address is in Bruce Valetti, and unfortunately I have to come back here again today. I've had to submit some public information requests, and the Public Information Officer, Kim Ray, has been violating the Texas Public Information Act numerous times and continues to do so. And when I submitted an public information request regarding a shooting of my daughter's dog, which was not justified, I was offshore, 1,600 miles away in the Atlantic Ocean, working as a medic on a ship. And I needed the papers, I needed the information right then, but no, I had to wait till I got home because she refused to email them. Now the law says, I'm not quoting this verbatim, but it says that if it's in an electronic format, PDF, that if the requester asks for it to be emailed, it should be emailed. She refused to do it. And I've got another request that's out there. I believe today is the day number 10, business day number 10. All I have to do right now is I'm going to file a complaint with the district attorney. If the district attorney doesn't do anything, it's going to the AG's office. Just to let you know that, I mean, I don't like playing games like this, especially when the information was needed because I wanted to research the circumstances of the person who shot my daughter's dog in the city limits. Now I understand the dog got out into the yard, but according to the incident report, the dog was not a threat when it was shot. There was no one in the backyard. The kids vacated the backyard. They shut the gate, called Dad on the phone. Dad went outside, popped the dog. Absolutely unjustified. Police department did nothing about it. That's all I came up here to say. We might want to rein in Miss Ray and have her follow the law.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for letting me speak.
Yes, sir. Chief, I'd like to have a word with you about that as soon as we get a chance. Okay. Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and close out public comments. City Secretary to administer statements and oaths of office to newly elected officials of an uncontested election that was canceled by the City Council. These documents will be held on file with the City Secretary. So, Angela, the floor is yours.
Okay, follow me. You want down there? You want up here?
Up here.
Okay.
Actually, James is down there to take pictures of us too. That way they can see you.
Okay. So these are for the offices of Jim, for the mayor, and for Bonnie, council member, Ward 2. Raise your right hand.
Okay, discussion and possible action regarding the appointment of Mayor Pro Tem as selected among the members of the city council per requirement of the City of McGregor's Home Rule Charter. Okay, we have a motion and a second to elect Renee Flores as our Mayor Pro Tem. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. Item 4 is our consent agenda. We're gonna go ahead and postpone that until our next meeting, as the minutes for the previous meetings are not prepared. At this time, we'll go ahead and we will jump down to item 7 on the agenda, receive presentation from Tyler Technologies and discussion and possible action regarding approval of the purchase of My Civic app.
Good evening,
Good evening.
everyone. My name is Robin Reeves, and I'm your senior account representative with Tyler Technologies, and I have had the privilege of being in this role for over 28 years. And my favorite thing I value most is the relationships that I have built with our clients during this time. I want to thank you for being a valued Tyler Technologies partner. And through the partnership, the city utilizes our financial, payroll, utility billing, and municipal justice software applications. While many people think that Tyler Technologies is just a software company, which is certainly true, I'd like to encourage you to think of us as more of a service company. So just like the City of McGregor services its citizens, we at Tyler Technologies service you. And we serve and we share a common goal in providing exceptional service, creating tools that help make day-to-day operations more efficient, connected, and meaningful for both your staff and your citizens. So before we start the demonstration, I'd like y'all to think about what the most valuable piece of real estate is in the City of McGregor. So as you think about that, I'd like to introduce you to Dennis Mailman. He is our solutions consultant, and he also has been with Tyler over 20 years. Dennis will be leading tonight's demonstration, and as you watch the presentation, I'll leave you with the thought that the most valuable piece of real estate in the City of McGregor is in the palm of your citizens' hands. So tonight you're going to see a solution designed to strengthen the connection between the city and the community you serve. And I appreciate the time that you're allowing us to have tonight. Thank you.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Is that better, or is this okay? Okay, so yeah, because I'm pretty loud. So hello, folks, my name is Dennis, and as Robin mentioned, I'm gonna give you a demonstration of what we call the My Civic Citizen Engagement app with the 311 perspective as well. And as we start talking about it, if you don't already know, which many of you might not, the My Civic app is meant to be an all-encompassing app that is on the phones, right, that people have in their hands looking at it all day long, right? And where y'all can provide all kinds of information, anything that you want to those citizens, and they don't have to go hunting for it somewhere else. So we all know that people have phones. People are looking at those phones all the time. And so that's what we engage with. And that's kind of what My Civic is. It's for you to be able to put local government and help with putting that in citizens' hands and communicate whatever that information is that is important to you, and put it out there, 24/7 access in what people have and are looking at all day long. So for us, that's the what it is, and the why is so really has all kinds of different benefits, right? But it's really about letting citizens engage through their phone themselves, right? And I always talk about, whenever I talk about this particular app, yes, and I think y'all can already see that it has a ton of benefits to the citizens, because they can get to the stuff that they're calling you about. But it also has a whole lot of benefits to the city side. For one of those is because you can get that information out there, and the staff, and if you stop and think about it, just taking a back step, think about all the calls that the staff get for all kinds of things: the barking dogs, the junk vehicle, the potholes, where do I get utility billing service, what is the city park hours. All of that can be put out there on the citizen engagement app, and y'all don't have to take a call, and they don't have to make a call. So as we go through this, I will say that it is an app. It is on iOS, it is on Android, so it's most all of the phones that are out there. And as we go through it, I'll admit, all of this is really just samples and examples. They are very common to what we see most cities taking advantage of, but it is really just meant to spark some of your interest and go like, oh yeah, that would be great for us to have as well. So it is an app. It's the orange app that is right there. And then this is completely brandable. Y'all put whatever pictures of McGregor or the logo as pictures. So y'all brand it the way you want to. You can do some common things like time and temperature, or even some of those phone calls that you get asking for a phone call. Oh, what's the number to the 311 side of things? You know, they can get to that right there, and it's a phone. They don't have to do anything but get to it themselves. They don't have to make a call. So bear with me as I go back and forth. All of these are the main pieces and parts. There are secondary menus. I always like to take the example that it's like a new family moving into town, and how they can take advantage of this and do it on their terms when they want to, like City Hall, right? There's a whole lot of information. Y'all know what a lot of this is. The good thing I like to talk about it is it's also very easy to get this information out, to put it in a manner that you need it to be. And here's what I mean by that, because we have templates that you just put content in, like a hierarchy template, right? So this is where you can put whatever the hierarchy is, whether it's at the city level or department level or any other level that you want, and you put that out there. And so people can get in, and if they want to go see the stuff that the mayor wants to provide, there it is. And you can already see that there's connection information if you want them to have it. So if they need to call or email, then you can give them that information. It's also very easy to navigate. I don't have to go forward or backwards to get to the next person. So, you know, there's Ward 1's information, there's Ward 2's information, there's Ward 3 and 4 and Council at Large, or whatever that is. Y'all can populate that with the information that you want to promote with the citizens. So that's the hierarchy view. And all you do is provide the content. The framework's already there. So as we go into it, this is what we call the big picture. And it's really just that. It's just another list, but it has big pictures. We use this one, and a lot of times we see for bus routes. I'm not sure how this might be, if y'all have that kind of thing, but we see it a lot. And so if you want to put the routes out there, the time frames, that's super easy to do. So that is just a bigger picture, but it still has information underneath it. And then we have other things that we call this the little thumbnails. You get to fit a little bit more in the screen to make it easier for the citizens to engage with. And then the call and the email and the websites, as you see, is right there up front. And that new family that's coming into town, hey, if they need to get directions, they can go get directions. And then they can make sure that they get here. And then as they go through, if they need to do, say, tour operators, then they can go out and do a tour. Or whatever else that might be in there. Y'all know what those pieces of information are, or the city does, for when there's a new people in town. They're probably calling you up and asking you for information. Now you can give that to them right from their phones. And then the last one, and again, these are all templated structures. All you do is provide the content. So it's super easy, up and running, you know, within just a matter of weeks. And so this one is more of a department, and it's really more of the big list type of view. And you notice the introduction of the social media, right? We all know that that's out there. A lot of times we see that in the cities as well. So now you can promote it easily in the department listing. And then if you want to, like the webcams or the council meetings, and be able to promote, like y'all are doing these castings to YouTube, you could just as easily let the citizens see it on their phone, and not have to be, you know, at a computer going into that type of thing. So that's just a few pieces. So whatever that information is, y'all put it out there. When it changes, y'all change it. When it's done, you take it off. And it's meant for this app to stay on people's phones and let people go into that. And that new family that's coming into town, maybe they want to learn a little bit more, right? So there's news. Whatever that latest news is, y'all can promote that. If you happen to have the same kind of news already on the City of McGregor website, you don't have to duplicate it here. We can feed it right from your website, your city website, and nobody has to do duplicate information. So there's a lot of technical ways for us to get that information out there. Y'all don't have to sit there and type it in. We like to make that clear. Oh, and this is where the other media, now mine's not connected just because I'm not connected to that particular YouTube, but this is where you can promote your council meetings and let them get to the history of that. I think that's because y'all are promoting it, excuse me, on YouTube already. Or maybe it's just some city photos. Maybe there's the holiday parade or the 4th of July parade or event that you want to take pictures and promote and show how fun things are. And so now that family is settled in, they got their utility service, they got the permit, because the website, or not the website, the citizen engagement app told them where to go get a permit, and they can fix up their house. They know what's going on around the city now. And probably the very next thing they want to go do is have some fun. So we see this a lot, right? Promoting parks and facilities. And so you put that information out there as well, right? They don't have to call you to ask, well, when does that open and when does that close? And what are the ordinances about pets that might be out there that we need to know about? And you can put whatever those facilities are, websites, directions, rental information, if that's what y'all have. The Parks and Rec, as you probably would interpret, does seem to be a little bit more geographically oriented, so there's a lot of maps in it. So if you need the map of the park or a map on directions, yes, all of that's there. And then typically we see that a little bit separated from the parks themselves, right? And so if you have hiking trails or biking trails, you can lay that map right into the My Civic Engagement app. And people don't have to come and get a map of it if you're providing that kind of thing. So those are all just another common pieces that we know citizens are doing. The other thing that happens is, so they go to the park, right? They have some fun. And what do you think they want to do next? They want to go out and they want to go eat and they want to go shop. So you can provide them with that information, and you can structure this any way that makes sense for y'all to structure it. Like all the eating spots. If you want it in a map view, you can get in a map view. If you prefer it to be a list view, then you can get it into a list view. And the kind of behind the scenes nice thing about this is y'all do not have to be the ones to maintain the list. There is electronic ways for you to offer that up to the businesses. They can put their own information out there. You approve it, of course, and then if they have weekly specials, they can put it out there. You approve it, and it's that easy. So there's an intermediary behind the scenes portal that all happens. So it's not much effort on y'all's side except approving things. Well, maybe a little bit more than that, but it's not having to type all of that in all at one time. And then if they get done eating and they want to go take advantage of the shopping, or where can they play, or retail shops, or maybe are into fitness and they want to know where I can go get a workout in, whatever that information is. Y'all know what people are asking about. So that's a little bit on the business side. And then there's the calendars. Y'all promote whatever calendars. You're probably already doing that in various ways. Now they can get to it straight from their phone. It's also good to know that you can make it whatever you want, right? Like for one of the spouses of the family, maybe they're out for the council meetings. If it's more like me and my son, I think we'd probably prefer more of the movie in the park. Whatever that is, y'all put that out there. And it's also good to know you probably have different calendars already with different departments, public works, maintenance, utilities, planning and zoning, whatever those might be. Y'all can have as many calendars out there showing people what you're promoting. So that is the business side of it. It is also, so that's kind of a quick overview. Those are all just samples and examples, right? Y'all get together, y'all decide what's out there. When the news is done, it comes off. When the next news thing comes out there, you put it back on. And it's meant to be real easy to navigate the information, excuse me, that's out there. The other thing is that it does integrate in with some of the software apps you already have from Tyler, specifically like the utility billing. So if you needed to, and I think, I don't know if y'all are, I don't think y'all have the website portal for utility citizens, utility service citizens to be able to go out and pay their bill online or see their consumption online. They don't have to make a call. You don't have to take a call. So, yes, this hooks right into it. They can log into their account and pay their bill. And we know for a fact that it cuts down on all the checks that are coming in to City Hall to pay those utility bills. So if that's an interesting, we have a lot of folks that are interested in that. It is absolutely up to you if that's something that sparks your interest as well. And we have quite a few apps that we integrate in with. So that is a good example of some of the common pieces we see people taking advantage of. And then up in the top right corner, there's the little mini blind icon, right? So all the main stuff you probably put right on the main menu, right? All those common pieces that people are asking about. All the secondary stuff can go under the mini blind icon. So there's, and this can be whatever it is, right? Like COVID. I mean, that was out there on the front page for a couple of years. Now it's kind of lingering in the background, if you even need it at all. If you don't want it out there, you take it off, right? Thanksgiving parades, if people want to request patrols when they're out of town. So these are all just examples of some additional layers that we know people are taking advantage of. So yes, you can have a lot more to it just under the secondary menu. That, I would say, is a good example and samples of the citizen engagement side of things. Secondly, one of the other pieces that we see a ton of interest in is the reporting issue, right? The potholes, the barking dogs, the junkyards, the high grass and weeds. And the city's probably taking quite a few calls on that. This can manage that effort. So you get to, and this is on the citizen side that we're looking at. So if you want to, and you like that kind of thought, I think that's one of the primary reasons a lot of cities are moving forward with it. It gives you a manner in which to manage that list and that activity. Now, these are all just examples, right? All kinds of stuff. You make it list, this is blank until y'all tell it what y'all want it to be. A lot of them are probably ones you already know about or hear about. I'm gonna use the graffiti one. You can get secondary information to help you decide the priority of things. And that gives you information, real-time information, so you decide what needs to go next versus not. So something like, non-vulgar on public property might be different than vulgar on public property, right? And it gives you just a little bit more information so you can decide priorities. It's a phone, so it already geolocates it. If you found it when you were on the way home and you're driving there, or it already passed it and you're waiting to report it till you get home, you can geolocate where you saw it. And up in the top, yeah, it's a map. I mean, it'll tell you what it is. The citizen can add whatever notes they want to, new as of today. It's also a phone, right? There's pictures. So if they want to take pictures to help you out, that's even better. And then you'll be able to see those, whether they took it on the way home or they did it right where they're there. And at some point, they submit it. I'm going to hit it anonymously. You do get choices. If you want everybody to register, they can. If you don't and you want to allow anonymous, then that's fine too. That's what I'm going to do. You don't have to do anything. It just shows up and says, hey, give us a couple of days. We'll get back to you. And it logs that type of action. And then the other side of it is on the city side. And bear with me. I'm going to flip over to my iPad. In addition to the My Civic app itself, there is also a city side app where, and bear with it as it connects. And it's thinking. If that doesn't work, I'll try a different route. So this is on my iPhone. This could just as easily be iPads, Apple devices, Android devices, Google devices. So there's the citizen engagement side of things that you let them report the pothole. And then there's also going to be a city side, and that's this application. So yes, there is going to be a city-related screen and administrative portal that y'all can go out and see what those items are. And this can be folks out in the field, and they can stay in the field. If you're doing a paper shuffle of these things right now, that paper shuffle goes away. So now there's that graffiti that we just did today, and you can go into it, and then you can look at it, and whoever is managing this can do it. You can say, okay, yes, I did receive it, thank you very much. I don't have time to assign it yet. A couple of hours later, maybe you go out and assign it. So y'all have a whole screen and portal for you to manage the list as well. It's not just a list. You get to manage it. Here's the neat thing about it. If I go back to the citizen side of things, and I know I'm bouncing around, so this is back on the citizen engagement. If I go into that secondary menu and I go into my reports, you didn't have to do a thing. And on the citizen side, in the activities, this is where it'll log when it was received, when it was acknowledged, and when it was assigned, and then, of course, when it was done. Now, I didn't have time to do a full-blown example because I know y'all want to keep it quick, but this is what they would see. And that just happens. The application does that. You do not have to let the citizen know. It'll do that automatically. So those are some of the main pieces and parts. So there's that 311 we find is very popular. And here's one more thing that is relatively new. And if you want to hook into the into some of the new topic that's happening out in the world today, bear with me. I'll go into a different portal or a different My Civic. This is just another example of the same application that's branded differently, right? Little pictures different, the title's different. You brand all of that. Here's one of the newest things that you might get a kick out of, is this resident assistant, taking advantage of artificial intelligence, where we can tell it to use your portal, your website, as the information underneath it, and then all the citizen has to do is type in and ask a question, and it'll go out there. Now, this is for a different city. We're not hooked into yours, but there's all the information about City Hall. Or what about, I need to get utilities? And they can just type in, they can make it a question if they want to. So these are, and it just does it. It's a neat little tool that we have a ton of interest in, and it'll just go out and find it, as you need to see. If I need to go look up council, then I can go look up council. And it's pulling straight from your portal, so a lot of the information's already there, and then they go get to it. So I thought that would be a good thing to end on, and we can open it up to whatever questions you might have, but we have a ton of interest in it, all to help the cities, just like yourselves, engage with the citizens with what they have in their phone all day long. So we can open it up for whatever questions.
All right, well, thank you. Does council have any questions? My question for staff is what human being is gonna be tracking this? Kevin?
It's all of us. We've got a department up there, but we usually, Cassie, Skylar, and, 360 Solutions, we will work on our websites. This will be very similar to that. Of course, the payments will be coming in ladies up front, just like they always process it. Complaints, as I understand it, will go straight to the department heads. Might go through the work order system, I'm not sure about that. But we've been working at this for a while with several different ones, and then when we found out that Tyler had one that was already there, and in relation with our systems that are already in place, we started going down that direction. I'm sad that Renee's not here, she's been the biggest proponent, but certainly not the only proponent of it. But it's time that we took this step.
Well, if for no other reason, I think being able to pay water bills and get push notifications on this system, those are probably the two biggest impacts for me.
I think that would be by far the most used.
Which, there's a few optional services on here. Which one are y'all wanting to move forward with?
Well, that's probably had a lot to do with whoever from this council wants to sit down with the staff that's gonna be implementing it and populating everything. I think it's gonna be a little design time involved. I've put, Ryan in charge of putting it all together. He's, quite a bit more savvy at technology than I am. I think the staff committee and one or two council people will be very useful to be able to design what we're gonna start with. And just because we start with a certain fitness, doesn't mean that to say that was.
If I may, that our team can, they'll build it out first for you with all the information that you want, so you're not the one having to build it out. And then they'll train you how to, switch out the information, how to
Okay.
change out, you know, if you want a holiday picture during Christmas, you can change the holiday picture. If you wanna change out different, actions on the front, move them from the mini blind menu, you can move them to the front. So the team will be, work with you to develop the first prototype. And then if you want to take it on yourself, you can, but they are there to assist you in any changes that you want to do. So you're not left with an app and then you don't know what to do. They want to be there to support you, to make sure that you're utilizing it to its fullest, that your citizens are utilizing. You may not want to start with everything at the beginning. You may want to slowly roll things out, get people used to the app and what's on it, and then you can add as you go. So it could definitely be a living app for your needs and your citizens.
Yep.
All right, does anybody else have any questions? We received the memo from Brian going into this.
Yeah, I think my only comment would be is how we allocate that cost next year in the budget. I think where it's gonna be pulled from this year's reasonable. But the comment in there around allocation for the other departments in 27, 6, 7, whatever year, next year.
After it's in place
Yes.
and working, we'll be able to figure that out.
Yep, I think that's fair.
Allocation of all of it. Doesn't make change from year to year, police cause a lot of problems and get a lot of Picking on you up here, Jane.
All right, well, if, council doesn't have any more questions about this, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the Tyler Technologies. Is that what it is?
My Civic app. No, because we're still figuring that out. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and move back to agenda item number 5, discussion and possible action regarding approval of proposal for Walker Partners for professional surveying and engineering services for the connection to Bluebonnet Water Improvements Project.
This first one is talking about the very beginnings of a project we've been talking about with the TERS for quite some time, and that's getting a new meter and a new line from the Bluebonnet line into the industrial park.
Okay, Jacob, before you get started, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on record that I am abstaining from the vote on this, being the general manager of Bluebonnet Water Supply, and I would like to make a point that what Kevin said about us talking about this for years now is the absolute truth. We're trying to get some more surface water into the industrial park. So, Mr. Henson, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. As Kevin mentioned, this is kind of step one of getting additional water into the industrial park to help bolster your service there. So the proposal is for surveying and design services to design a 16-inch water line that will tie into Bluebonnet's water line on 317 and basically just bridge a small gap that's there right now along Bluebonnet Parkway. The city currently has a 16 that feeds from the industrial park back towards 317 and ends there on this was at the northwest corner of the old Ferguson property, kind of right there across from the McGregor ISD admin building. So it would just be running from running a water line from 317 to that dead end on the existing water line and making that connection.
Well, that was quick.
It's a pretty simple project. I guess I will add, it will include a new meter that will be between the city and Bluebonnet Water Supply to go along with your current one that's a little bit further north on 317. So that'll be added on there as well, as well as some backflow just to meet the requirements of Bluebonnet.
All right.
Funding for this will come out of the monies we have in place for TERS 1 at this time.
All right, does council have any questions on this?
What kind of capacity increase does that put in the industrial park?
So right now, I believe you have you're using about 1 MGD from Bluebonnet, and you have the ability to take, I think it's right around 2 MGD, a little less than 2 MGD. So you could increase your capacity up to 1 million gallons for the industrial park.
So essentially what this does is it just keeps the industrial park from relying on the groundwater
Correct.
Introduces surface water to take up the, I don't want to say over pumping because I don't agree with the way the figure was permitted for our groundwater, but to take the load off the groundwater.
Correct.
And as of right now, we're not tying this into anybody. This is just step one to,
This is step,
Tied into the whole park.
Yeah, so it would,
does tie into them.
yeah, it would tie into the park to provide, so really the tie-in would mainly service Knopf and Messer and some other of the newer industrial users, like the mayor mentioned, to take some of the load off of the groundwater that's being used within the park.
Gotcha, understood.
Most of that can then be dedicated more towards SpaceX.
The next steps are gonna be ground storage, pumping, and probably another elevated storage like that. You're gonna create a pretty good water farm there. Whole facility.
all right. Are there any further questions? I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the proposal from Walker Partners for the professional surveying and engineering service for the connection to Blue Bonnet Water Improvements Project.
We have a motion,
Second.
and Alfredo has a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? One abstention. Item 6, discussion and possible action regarding approval of proposal from Walker Partners for professional surveying and engineering services for the Blue Bonnet Parkway Pump Station Ground Storage Tank Project.
This is another thing that's gonna be very important in that, I guess it's a fifties model pump station that's sitting there and, has had some issues, and so we've had some supply problems for the whole park, created by that. So this is gonna be taking a look at completely replacing what's there with, additional ground storage and pumping capacity built for future. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I may make one correction to that, I made a mistake and gave the wrong project name to Angela to include on here. So the project is actually the SpaceX Pump Station Reconstruction Project. The Blue Bonnet Parkway Pump Station and Ground Storage Tank would be a future proposal that would come before you to talk about, for the engineering and surveying for the project that Kevin mentioned earlier on Blue Bonnet Parkway. This is, as Kevin mentioned, for the SpaceX pump station that the city does own and operate. It's just how we refer to it by the name of SpaceX. They don't have any ownership in it. But it is there also along Blue Bonnet Parkway, but at the SpaceX site that has the ground storage tank and elevated storage that serves them. So it is what Kevin was referencing to. It is a 1950s model pump station. It was built as part of the original NWIRP system. And so just the building itself is in disrepair. The pumps are a constant maintenance issue for the city.
Jacob, hold on just for a second.
Go for it.
If I'm not mistaken, if this is not what is labeled on the agenda, we cannot vote on this tonight. This is not what was advertised.
Does the station serve the whole park?
The station does still serve the whole park, yes, sir.
My point being is that this says the engineering services for Blue Bonnet Parkway
Right.
Pump Station and Ground Storage Tank. That is not this project. Legally, I do not believe we can vote on this.
Yeah, and again, I apologize. That is
No problem.
that is my mistake.
Could it be just a clerical error?
No. We'll come back.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 8. Sorry, Jay.
No, again, I apologize. That is my fault.
Discussion and possible action regarding approval of the railroad track license agreement between the City of McGregor, Texas, and Knopf Installation Incorporated.
Excuse me. This one's been coming for a long time as well. Before we could negotiate this with Knopf, we also had to negotiate what they call industrial track agreement with BNSF ourselves. Knopf then has to negotiate a industrial track agreement with us, as will everyone who uses rail in the park. This is our first one, but this template sets the stage for all the others to follow. The attorneys worked on it for a while, and then the Knopf attorney had some issues that had to take him away for a while, and then he came back and they're ready to pull the trigger. Charlie worked on this for a while, and they went back and forth with it to make sure, and then also it all has to be approved by BNSF. So you can imagine the paper trail that all left. Anyway, it's ready to go. It also establishes the way maintenance will be paid for over the years, and it's basically strictly pro rata. Whoever uses the cars based on pro rata are the ones who pay a price based on what we actually expend for maintenance. Now, obviously, there's not going to be a whole lot of maintenance probably for several years, but at least the template is in place, and it will be shared by everyone who uses it at cost. There's a lot of question about who's paying for the track. The TERS is paying for the track through the taxes that are paid by the people that are out there, the real property taxes. So that's how you pay the bill for the track. It's being paid, and actually this year, I think Lee told me, where'd Lee go? There he is, that we're gonna have a little money left over in the TERS, right?
Yes, I
After we
believe so.
pay the bill. So there may be other projects, and I'll go ahead and tell you the project that we'll look at next time on the pump stations, depending on what property we sell or not, or how much money we have in the TERS #1 pool already, will determine how we pay for that after it gets designed. We gotta get it designed first, we need to go ahead and move forward. But you may have to finance it, but I don't think so. I think you've got sales lining up that'll probably take care of most of all of it.
And this is just city-owned property. This is nothing to the private business that will incur any cost for.
Correct.
Correct.
Oh, absolutely. No, you don't, yeah. We don't pay for rail once it goes through their fence. We don't have to maintain that. They will have to maintain it, and they'll have to maintain it in the same standards as the railroad requires everybody to. I mean, you don't hook on to BNSF and they bring their engines on your property and leave cars on your property without doing it the way they tell you to. And, you know, that's the way it should be. But this sets the stage for a lot that's gonna come with other rail users as well.
All right,
For the,
go ahead, Alex.
yep, for the record, to Angela, I'll be abstaining on any votes for this agenda item.
Okay, and for informational purpose for council and our audience, TERS 1 was started in 2019, and it's a tax increment reinvestment zone, which is paid out of the tax dollars of the people in the industrial park. So there's no resident tax dollars being attached to any of this. This is only our industrial users that are paying this. So, any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the railroad track license agreement between the city of McGregor and Knopf Installation Incorporated.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? So we have 4 ayes and 1 abstention. That motion carries. Item number 9, discussion of possible action regarding approval of using funds from contingency fund instead of the utility fund to pay Wallace Controls and Electric Incorporated for work to upgrade and replace the SCADA system.
Mayor and council, thank y'all for y'all's time. I did just want to clarify that on this agenda item, it talks about using from the contingency instead of the utility fund. To clarify, this is the utility fund's contingency, so we're not necessarily taking away from the utility fund in any way. are moving the expense from one fund to another. This is purely the use of excess revenues over expenditures. But the SCADA improvement project, it's appears to be a sole source vendor, Wallace Controls and Electric, that I think they're the only ones that can really work on the system because they're the ones that have installed the system. But it's a SCADA improvement. There are 3 different invoices that were attached in the agenda packet, and each one gives a little bit of a fuller explanation of what each of those are. This was budgeted last year for about $63,000. It did not make it in the budget this year. However, we have the contingency to cover it. And it is one of those things that we expected. It was just that the timing of the project was not in the year that we had expected it to be in. I will say also that the budget of $62,000 is not entirely accurate compared to these invoices. I believe the total cost of these invoices is somewhere about $130,000 in total for the improvements to the SCADA system and the wastewater treatment plant.
All right, I can speak to this a little bit from personal experience and having dealt with Wallace Controls. These SCADA systems are getting older. A lot of the equipment, the human interface and PLCs are becoming obsolete at a rapid pace. So I would greatly encourage council to go ahead and see this one through and vote aye on it.
Do we have issues with our existing SCADA system today, or is it just at an opportunity to upgrade, or?
I know there's at the point now, my system within Blue Line is very much the same age as McGregor's, and there's a lot of pieces they're not making replacement parts for anymore.
And in order to keep it up and running and actually serve the way we need to serve, we've got to touch it.
Council have any more questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve using funds from the contingency fund instead of the utility fund to pay Wallace Controls and Electric Incorporated for work to upgrade replacement of SCADA system.
I have a motion.
Would you mind reading it as the corrected, saying that the contingency is out of the utility fund? It is the utility fund's contingency.
Yes.
Okay. I approve of using the funds, that is the contingency fund, that is of the utility fund. Is that right? To pay Wallace Controls and Electric Incorporated for work to replace and upgrade and replacement of SCADA system. Is that what you need? Got it.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take a little break from the business and enjoy some festivities since our mayor pro tem, newly elected, just showed up.
Now you gotta get sworn in.
Now
I
you get
do
sworn
need to
in.
get sworn in.
Yes, so get sworn in. You're the only one.
Again, I love McGregor, but my heart is my daughter, so I apologize I'm late. I had to
No
go,
problem, you get it.
I had to go support her.
that you're official again, we'll go ahead and move on to item 10. Lee's on the hot seat this evening. Discussion and possible action regarding approval of using funds from the contingency fund.
Same distinction, yes.
Contingency fund of the utility fund to pay for Alliance Electrical Group Incorporated for work outside of the grant for the wastewater treatment plant improvements project.
Yes. Mayor and council, thank y'all for y'all's time again. This is relatively similar to the last ask. We're just using the excess revenues in the utility fund over expenditures to fund 3 different work change directives that Alliance Electrical has made on their work with the wastewater treatment plant. If y'all will remember that this was one that was partially funded by a grant. I believe it was 80-20, that $450,000 was funded by the grant, and then $50,000 was for us to put up front. So with these 3 change orders, and the reason that we're paying 100% for these change orders is because they exceed the amount, the cost of the grant, they exceed the amount of the work performed, so they fall outside of the grant. But we have the ability to fund these and the need to get them done and pay it. So with that being said, it's essentially the same ask. I think it's thought I had that calculation. Somewhere with all the 3 work change directives and the $50,000 match, coming out of contingency should be about $118,000, $119,000.
118,905.39.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so it looks to me like a lot of the change orders had to do with electrical improvements. Were they just improvements that were not anticipated at the time of design?
Yeah, so I think the first big change, Mayor, was the backfill of one of the trench, the main trench for the new electrical service coming from the service drop going to the electrical building. Because of the grant, the limited grant amount of money from the grant, we were going to just backfill with a typical trench backfill. And when we got into construction, we really felt like it would be in the city's best interest to do a more of a flowable fill, which is more typical for electrical conduit, especially with the size of the duct banks that we were installing, because we were concerned about being able to get compaction between each one of the conduit runs and different stuff like that. And so I believe that is the first one that's before you. The other one was something that city staff requested. That was not because it was not part of the original electrical system within the plant. We didn't identify it to be replaced. The city staff asked that get included while everything else was being replaced. And I believe the third is in regards to the new driveway, if I'm not mistaken. And again, that was just a driveway that was already somewhat in disrepair, and then just through construction and the construction equipment coming in and out, and making deliveries and different stuff like that, that we felt like, and city staff asked that it be replaced to provide a better safer driving surface, because again, that's where your chemical deliveries and stuff are coming in and out of the plant. So being able to provide a good driving surface for them to be able to get in and out and not have any issues making those deliveries.
Okay, understandable. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does council have any other questions? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the contingency fund of the utility fund to pay electrical,
motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. Item 11, we're gonna Lee's got the floor again. We'll receive financials as of March 31st, 2026, and the quarterly investment report.
Yes, thank you. So as mentioned, the financial summary is as of March 31st, 2026, so it's halfway through the year. Great time to think about budget. Speaking of, there was a budget calendar that was left in y'all's stuff, just to propose budget calendar to see what it might look like moving forward. But back to this, the March represents half of the year. If we look at the important funds that we kind of keep track of here, we can see that they're all doing pretty healthy. The Exchange Event Center is one that we've been keeping an eye on. The expenses are tracking pretty well halfway through the year, 52%. The revenues are up more from the last month. So we're working on getting those revenues up, which I think we're just going to see naturally over time because of of what we talked about with the revenues being recognized when the contracts are signed for the events and they're not being signed or planned as far out in advance. So that should just naturally go up over time. Anyways, breaking down into the funds, we can see the general fund net cash flow is $875,000 lower than the previous year. There's a big reason for that. Revenues are down by $820,000. Expenditures are up $55,000. The revenue decreases are primarily due to recognizing a $1 million transfer. That was money transferred into the general fund for the sale of land, I believe, to EFC Gases. I may remove that $1 million transfer going forward, at least for the purposes of these reports, so that we can kind of keep track of what's operational versus non-operational, and then we don't get lost in that $1 million transfer.
That's the money that was used to build the pickleball court.
Yes, or yes, yeah. But the other amounts that are in play here, besides that $1 million, is there's actually a little bit larger of it's offset. There should have been an increase in revenues because SRO reimbursements being received. So this was another thing, is that these receivables in the past were set up to record revenue when the revenue was received. So these checks were received and rung up later in the year last year than they were being rung up in the year this year. So we're seeing more SRO reimbursement revenue earlier in FY26 than we were in 25. And the expenditure increases are primarily due to recognizing disbursement of economic development grants, which so far we've paid out $356,000. And this was offset by a decrease because the Waco Industrial Foundation payment of almost $300,000 was paid out of the Industrial Park Fund this year. The utility fund net cash flow is $138,000 higher than the previous year. Revenue is up $500,000. Expenditures are up $361,000. Revenue increase relates to an increase in both the use of water and budgeted rates to prepare for those wholesale cost increases. The expenditure increase relates to an increase in waste management fees of $91,400, which is partly due to the timing of the payments, and the other part is just due to an increase in customers served. This increase also relates to timing capital expenditures and increases in personnel costs as budgeted. Okay. For the exchange net cash flows are up $6,400 compared to the same period last year. So we are seeing a increase in actuals this year compared to last year. Revenues are down 3.5 thousand, expenses are down 9.9 thousand. That revenue decrease, again, tracks a little bit due to the variance and when things are booked for. And then the revenue, or the expenditures, I mean, are trying to be decreased to match our revenues. So for the airport net cash flows are down 7.9 thousand compared to the same period. Revenues are up 22,000, expenses are up 29.9 thousand. Increase relates primarily to budgeted increases in personnel costs in addition to capital expenditures reimbursed by the RAMP grant that started earlier in the year this year than last year. Okay. And we just get a big picture of all of the funds in that manner. And then over here we get a big picture of our cash across all funds. Here's kind of condensed down a little bit. We see that net cash in the bank is 5.5 million more than the same period last year. Operating accounts are up 7.3 million, mainly due to internal transfers. Pooled cash is up 0.4 million. Grants are down 412,000. Capital projects are down 1.4 million as compared to the same period last year. Okay. So sales tax revenue. We've talked about this each month as we've looked at it. We see FY 23, 24, and 25 are up higher due to construction in the industrial park. FY 26, the construction of our clients out there, I don't think has begun yet, or well, at this point has not begun yet. The one thing I can say, just having looked, because this is as of March, having looked at April and May comparatively to last year, our sales tax revenue in April and May this year compared to last year, which is not seen up here, is higher. So sales tax revenue tracks comparatively to the last year. Just the big thing that's throwing it off is those the construction from our industrial park clients out there, partners, I mean.
Messer 2 has started, and EFC will, I think they're gonna try to do a groundbreaking midsummer about, last I heard. Actually, he's gonna be in town this week, right? Yeah, Tommy's gonna be in town this Thursday, so we'll have an update on that pretty soon.
Alrighty. And last but not least, this is the quarterly investment report. We can see just in those bullet points down at the bottom, the cash and investments on hand for the quarter ended March 31st is 29 million. The change in the cash since the quarter ended December 31st is a positive 2.4 million. Interest earned in this quarter is 223,000, so our fiscal year to date interest earnings is 522,000, and I believe those are the big takeaways from our investment report. No big changes, no big movements. But again, if there are any questions over the investment report, over the financials, over anything, please let me know and I'll be happy to help.
All right. Does council have any questions for Lee? All right. Hearing none, thank you, Lee.
Yes, thank you.
And we will go ahead and go into closed session, closed meeting pursuant with Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.071 Legal and Section 551.087 Economic Developments. So we're going to closed session at 7:42. it is 8:35. Maybe not. Okay, it is 8:36. And we're coming back into open session. Next agenda item is comments from the city manager.
I have none. You've heard my voice plenty tonight.
That is not wrong. Okay, do we have any comments from council? Okay, in that case, yes.
I just wanted to say how great the cemetery's been looking, and so kudos to Cassie and the Parks Department. The last few times I've been out there, it's just been
All right, and with,
One more, sorry, just recognition to Chad and his team for the water main break on Johnson Drive. I shared it with Kevin, but they worked hard. They worked,
He forwarded that to him, and he shared it with a couple of the main ones, right? So they were neck deep in water for a while. I've seen them that way many times.
And another shout out to Chad and Cassie and just the city, Kevin, for National Day of Prayer. You guys, even the PD
Chief-
person,
Chief
like,
gets that one.
yeah, thank you guys. That was amazing. I think the event went really well, and so thank y'all for that support on the McGregor Ministerial Alliance. And Mayor for the proclamation.
Alfredo, do you want to add something? Okay, with that, then we'll go ahead and close this meeting at 8:37.